The Exiles. This is Space 1999, Season 2, the dreaded Season 2, with Tony and Maya, who are new characters, and they got rid of a bunch of old characters. Victor, who I loved, it's other characters who I still liked, and they got rid of, and I don't really understand why. Watching this episode, I could easily use any one of these characters and swap them out. Maya does use her shape changing ability though, so she's useful in that sense, and she's all right. She's okay. Tony is okay. He's there right now. I'm not like, I don't hate the guy, but I'm not like super dying over him either. So let's talk about it. Of course, let's talk about the storyline. I'm going to give the storyline a 1 out of 2. So 2 is the best you can get. The storyline here is that there's these little capsule missile thingies floating around. There's like 50 of them or whatever. And, they're starting to orbit around the moon. So Moonbase Alpha sends out an eagle to get one of them. And they open it up, and there's this weird guy in there. And he's got these wearing these weird tights. And he's like, oh, we're this species and blah, blah, blah. Koenig doesn't trust him. Everyone else is like, no, he's fine. And they're like, well, can you thaw us all out? Can you bring all 50 of us down? And Koenig's like, well, we can't really support like literally any more people. Now, I thought that they could have babies and stuff, and I felt like they retconned that a little bit. The reason I'm not dying over the story was that the first like 20 minutes was fine. You're like, okay, this will be really cool. But they're just villains who want to take over and destroy stuff. And it just became just too like run of the mill, like, okay, yeah, they're the bad guys. So that was it. So the interesting part was all in the beginning, and then the rest of it was just how do we fight them off? The pacing is good. I'm giving that 1.5. I wasn't bored because there is more momentum and action, but I can see how the pacing, it's weird because the pacing is faster paced and so far in these 2 episodes of season 2, but I actually don't like the pacing as much because I liked the slow build up of examining the story. Like, for example, in when they get the capsule, they bring it down underground. There's an underground area now that they can go into. So they put it in the underground area. And Koenig says, okay, activate, safety precautions or whatever. And then they open it up. And I mean, that's very lazy, right? Like that's something like that I would write, not knowing what to write. Most of the time they would have been like, Victor would have been like, well, John, before we open this capsule, we should check the pressures of this. Like there'd be all this like science stuff that I can't repeat, right? And then Koenig will be like, oh, well, maybe we should wait. And no, but they're running out of time, John. They can't stay, and then it'd be like, okay, well, what safety precautions should we have? Well, perhaps we should put a force field around it. Like there'd be like a lot of discussion here, which is like, put the safety precautions on, open it up. So I can understand how they're cutting it to make it go quicker, but you're losing some of the cool stuff that I liked about Space 1999. The pacing's still fine, though. The artistry is quite good. I'm going to give it a 2, although I was going to give it a 1.5 because the tights that they're wearing, those aliens, they're pretty goofy. But everything else looks really good. The sets are awesome. They look really good. I don't like them as much, so I can acknowledge that something looks very good. But say the season 1 sets are better to me because I like that sort of sterile look. It's like here's main mission. Like it looks cool in the fact that it doesn't look that cool. Does that make any sense? It's like sometimes with Star Trek, they start to get, the bridge start to look like some sort of fantastical future, Flash Gordon thing. And it's like, it shouldn't be, it should look more functional. This one's good. It looks functional, and still somewhat normal, but I kind of like the other style better, but I still think it looks really good. They're wearing jackets. The outfits are a little bit different. Again, I kind of like the boring outfits of season 1. I thought they were kind of better, but that's fine. The characters, I'm going to give the characters a 1 here. Look, I like all of our regulars. Tony is just bland to me. Maya is okay, but she hasn't really done enough, and she was slightly irritating. I get what they're doing now. That's going to be she doesn't understand humans. Yeah, but it's a bit weird. Like the characters are behaving completely differently than they were before. Helena and Koenig are like an item, and they're showing it. Like it's a bit weird. And there's this really weird, dumb. There's a couple of dumb parts where like and the enjoyment factor is a 1. I'm going to give it a 1 for enjoyment factor. I liked it, but I didn't love it. I'm giving it a 6.5. This is definitely on the weakest. This is probably the weakest episode of Space 1999 that I've seen so far. Whereas the first episode I thought was a bit better. This one's definitely the weakest out of all of the ones that I've seen. But there's like it wouldn't have been that bad except for some really goofball parts. Like, so she can shapeshift Maya and she turns into Dr. Russell, and there's 2 Dr. Russells, and it's like, oh, which one is the real one? And they're kissing him, and it's like, is it me? Is it me? And it's like, what in the hell is happening right now? Firstly, why is this happening? It's supposed to be fun and playful. It's weird. That would be weird. Like, I mean, that had to be weird back then. Never mind, obviously today it'd be weird, but it had to even be weird back then. Like, it's like, this is odd. The other thing is that they got this goofy thing at the end where she turns into this old woman. It's like, oh, kiss me, Tony. I'm this old woman now. And like, what is happening? Like, what is it? I understand that. I think I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to say, like, everyone was too dry in the season 1. It was all like, it was always business. But there wasn't. There was a little bit of human stuff here and there. But I like Space 1999 for the business parts. Like, let's get down to the sci-fi nitty-gritty here. There was a little bit of a love thing going back and forth with Sandra. There was some stuff with Koenig and Helena. So they did have a little bit here and there to show that they're still human beings. But this is like kind of goofy. And I understand they're trying to make it more accessible and more fun, but it's not working for me. It's a 6.5 on this one. I still thought it was okay. But it's definitely the lowest one that I've reviewed so far. So there you go. Continuing season 2, we'll see what happens in the next episode. Hopefully you guys are subscribed and hit the like on the video and check out the playlists. So that's it. Until next time.
Hey friends, you've just been listening to J-Man, and he is the smartest person who ever lived. So make sure you like and subscribe.